All right, so you know I had to hit you with the gem before I go to the gym. Got my little juice, but I also got something on my mind. So I want you guys to know, and always keep this with you, because it has worked for me like butter every single time. Now, this is a generation where a lot of heartbreak is happening. We're having a hard time getting over people. It's 10, 20, 40 years. We're still stuck on the same person. And I'm about to tell you how you can avoid that 100%, because heartbreak is 1000% preventable. Yes, that is scientifically proven by way of Alyssa and her data, her scientific data. Now, I believe that at this big age, all right, I'm 32 years old, and I feel like heartbreak is preventable. Why? Think about it. Think about how many times you got an inkling about someone that it was off, or that it wasn't going anywhere, or that it wasn't right. And 10 months later, 5 years later, 3 years later, you realize that that first instance of doubt was correct. That we need to start listening to. So for me personally, when I was dating, I didn't give anyone more than 2 months. And when I was seriously dating and trying to attract the right partner, which I ended up doing. So if you want to know more about that, let me know down below in the comments. But this one, I'm going to just give you how I went about my dating life and how it has worked so beautifully for me. So when I was dating, I was meeting guys that I really, really liked. But when I saw a little inconsistency, when I saw a little weird behavior, when I saw something I didn't like, that's when I started to dial back. So at the 2-month mark, you're done. You have to cut these men off. You have to cut these people off. Be done with them. There's nothing to hold on to. Because think about it too. When you first meet someone, that's supposed to be them putting their best foot forward. We're all leading with our representative, right? Like, I know damn well I'm not coming out the gate on my first date. Like, I'm trying to, show my best self and act all cutesy and laugh like that and do the napkin like this. But over time, the real me starts to show. And not that it's so different from who I portrayed myself as, but it's different because that's not 100% the real me. So if you're dealing with somebody and you're in week 1, week 2, and you're already having issues with communication or issues with planning or proper dates or conflict resolution, what do you think is going to happen when you guys dislike each other at some point in your relationship or when there's some sort of contention? It's not going to work. And I think when we swallow that pill sooner, what we do is we avoid heartbreak. But because we're so curious, it's like the curiosity that kills the cat. You extend grace and you're like, you know what? Yeah, he didn't text me back for 8 days. He came back around, but at least he did. He had some really big, compelling bullshit story that I believed. So therefore, I'm going to dive right back into this. But the problem with that is that you're extending somebody grace who has not quite yet earned it. You're extending somebody the benefit of the doubt when you don't even know them to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, we have to be vigilant. It's us, like, that we're dealing with. Like, you can't play about you. You can't be that lackadaisical about your heart or that lackadaisical about the people that you decide to share yourself with. Because what ends up happening is your mental health gets hit. Your emotional health gets hit, your spiritual health, your physical health gets hit when these things don't go well. But that does not have to happen. So like I said, I believe in the 2-month rule. If it's not seeming promising and things aren't becoming more obvious that this person is really invested in you, consistency should never be an issue. You should never be wondering, not 1 second when you're dating somebody, especially somebody new, you should not be second guessing how they feel if they're inconsistent. That's just so obvious. And I think us as women or humans in general, I don't know, but as a woman, I think we give so much credit to things that could happen in life. Yeah, he's been really busy, or he does this, so he's super busy this week and he didn't talk to you for 7 days straight. Like, those things just don't happen when someone is serious. And not to say that the guy or the girl doesn't truly like you, because that could be possible, but it could also be true that they're not in a space where they're ready to start a relationship. And that's going to be on you if you want to stick around. And when they wake up one day and be like, oh my gosh, I've been with the love of my life this whole time, and let's walk down the aisle, let's run and get married. That sometimes happens, but it usually doesn't. Usually people are pretty decided. They come to you with their mind straight already and with room for a relationship to blossom. So when somebody's not doing that, we have to accept those things. Like, we can't just stay there and just sit there like a puppy waiting to be chose. Like, choose me, feed me. You know, it gives desperate. It does. It just does. And we've all been in that place. And this video is not meant to condemn you or make you feel bad, but I'm just like, come on, we have to start thinking. Like, we have to start thinking. So when somebody is inconsistent, when they don't know how to communicate, when at the first sight of a problem, I need space and this is crazy, and they take days and weeks, what's going on? Conflict resolution is a healthy thing. It's good to go toward the problem so we can figure that out and move on. Because think about it. If somebody's really prioritizing you, do you think that they're going to let a problem be this big insurmountable hurdle that you guys can't get through? No. It becomes a challenge. It becomes like, okay, this is the problem. Here's me and you against it. Let's get through this so we can be back to our happy, fun selves. But at the first sight of a problem, when a person bails or a person has all these things that they got to do all of a sudden and they can't handle stress and, oh, last time my ex, we used to argue, I don't want to hear about that. Right? I don't want to hear about that. So I feel like when people are going through those kinds of things, and that's how people deal with conflict, red flag. You cannot help somebody through poor conflict resolution. They have to either be somebody who's like that in their own life, because they're not going to be like that with you. We have to start using people's lives as a data point and how they navigate their lives and see how you like that or how well that fits for you. Because at some point you will be the object of whatever it is that they are or are not. And when they do that to you, it's going to be very hurtful. And again, it's something you can avoid. Now, the hardest part about this, and what I found was the hardest part for me too, when I was going through this, because I know for me, there was like a guy that I really liked, and he was becoming inconsistent, although everything was great, like planning dates, and we had really good times. He was open, vulnerable. He's been to therapy, all these wonderful things. But those are the ones you really got to watch out for because they're smart. They know what to say. They know what to say. But when you have good eyes and you got vision, you know how to think. Okay? So let's be very clear. And you know how to get the hell on when something is not seeming right. So for that, it was a little difficult because I'm like, well, I like him and he has so many of these things right. But then I had to tell myself, like, Alyssa, he's inconsistent. What about that to you is attractive? What about that to you reads, this will be a good long-term partner? He's inconsistent. We're talking one day and then maybe you go quiet for like 3 days and we're unsure, and then we didn't talk for a little while, and then there's this big thing of what happened, and I started hailing. I got caught up in a monsoon, but here I am. Those are the things that we shouldn't have grace for, and it hurts. But it hurts a little bit, just a little bit. I'm not at that point. You're not in love. At the 2-month mark, you're not in love. At the 2-month mark, you're not. This person hasn't even become a habit yet. There's so many things that have not developed in you at the 2-month mark that you must take advantage of. I'm telling you, that is the most sensitive and the most fragile, but the most important time for you to have your head screwed on straight. You give people the benefit of the doubt after their character has been proven because you have something to go based off of. And it's not about being pessimistic, optimistic, realistic. It's just about understanding human nature. Some people are a little manipulative. I mean, we all are. Everybody's trying to get what they want. Some people's wants aligned with yours. Other people's don't. So if you go and take your heart out and be naive with it, like, oh, he seems like a good guy, so here. Like, essentially, that's what you're saying. He seems like a good guy. She seems like a good woman. So I'm going to unzip this, take this out, give this to you, and pray that it all works out because you've told me a few nice words for the first month and I'm buying it. And I want it so bad, so desperately that I will do whatever to make sure that this works. And then you wonder why 5, 6 months, 2 years later, 3 months, you're not in a relationship, you're not happy, and now you got all this healing to do when it could have been prevented. So please take it from me as somebody with experience, with staying too long, and then some really good experience with cutting off men that I actually liked very soon. But because I was doing that, I think it was such a powerful signal to the universe, to the creator, that, oh, she's serious. So maybe we should send someone her way who's really serious, and she'll be able to pick up all those signs. She'll be able to see all these things in the right person, and the things that aren't supposed to be there won't be there because she's already had experience with cutting those things off. So it's going to take a lot of trust, and it's definitely not easy, but always lean on your prior success. And when I say prior success, the times where you felt as though something was off, and it was. Even if you had no tactile evidence to explain why you feel like it's off. It's a little something weird, or listen, you must listen to it, right? Because one thing about the intuition or your spirit is that it doesn't need logic in order to be true. It's omnipotent. It knows all. So you have to be able to really tune into that. And I could also talk to you about honing your intuition as well. Part of it is a really good diet, but we can get into that in a different video. But nonetheless, I need to get to the gym. I hope that this video helped. Comment down below if you have experience with this stuff or you have anything to add. I'm very curious to see what you guys got to say, and I will be seeing you guys tomorrow.